Hi, this is Jeff, and I'd like to welcome you to this Microsoft Excel tutorial. This session, ABCs of Formulas and Functions, examines a very important part of Excel, the calculation capability within Excel. And with a few pieces of information, you are going to be able to create any number of different kinds of calculations. And you're going to be able to figure out all sorts of things. So let's get started, shall we? Question number 1. What can I type in cell A1? Answer: anything you want to. Well, that's the default setting. In a later tutorial, we will examine how we can restrict end users from typing in values that we don't want in particular cells. But for this session, let's operate under the premise that we can type whatever we want to in a cell. So then the next important question is, how do I tell Excel that I'm interested in doing a calculation? The code, if you will, the magic key is the equal sign. The equal sign tells Excel that I am interested in doing a calculation. Everything I type now until I end the formula must be done in a particular way. And we refer to that as syntax, S-Y-N-T-A-X. Everything after the equal sign, Excel is expecting it to be in formula syntax. So if I were to type in equals 2 plus 3, that is formula syntax. We put in our mathematical operator, the plus sign. So the next question is, when does the formula end? The formula ends when I leave the cell or use Control Enter. Control Enter is a very handy keyboard shortcut that takes what I've typed, drops it in the cell, but as you notice, the active cell doesn't change. Equals 2 plus 3. We know that the plus sign is for addition, so 2 plus 3 is 5. If I were to go to A2 and type in equal 2 asterisk 4, we know also that the asterisk is a symbol for multiply. But if I were to go ahead and hit enter, I end the formula, and at the same time I drop down one row. Equal to Shift 6 on a standard keyboard gives us the caret, that little upside down V that tells Excel that you are interested in raising a number to a power. Equals to caret 3 is the Excel equivalent of saying 2 to the third power. 2 times 2 times 2. And this time I will use the tab key, and you'll notice that we move from column A to column B. And we also see the answer 8, because we know 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again, we get to 8. The next formula, equals 2 plus 3 asterisk 4. What's the answer? Did you come up with 14, or did you come up with 20? The answer is actually 14. Now, if you came up with the answer 20, don't feel bad. A lot of people give me that same answer. And I think I understand why. It's because it's been a long time since we've taken a math class. So I wanted just to give you something to think about, to remember. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, is what I was taught in 4th or 5th grade. The P represents parentheses. The E represents exponents. The M represents multiplication. The D in dear represents divide. The A in aunt, of course, is addition. And the S in Sally represents subtraction. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is a fancy, fun, convenient way to remember the order of operations. This is not Excel. This is math. And for hundreds of years, mathematicians have always agreed upon the way that the order of operations would be. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, or subtract. Children in school, many places these days, are learning PEMDAS. P-E-M-D-A-S is just another way of remembering the exact same thing. So, equal 2 plus 3 asterisk 4. For many folks, is 2 plus 3 is 5 times 4. We need to remember that Excel does indeed follow the order of mathematical operations. 2 plus 3, close parenthesis, asterisk 4. Those two formulas, although they look virtually identical, yield different answers. Let's see. Equal, parenthesis, 2 plus 3, close parenthesis, asterisk 4. The answer, 20. So if you stop and think about that for just a little while, just let it ruminate, just roll it over once or twice, and make sure that you remember that Excel does indeed follow the order of operations. You're going to be good to go. This tutorial is the ABCs of formulas and functions. Let's take a look at just a few items about functions. If I wanted to add the numbers in A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5, I could very well do equals A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5. And technically there's nothing wrong with that formula. 5 plus 8 is 13, plus 8 more is 21, add 14 you get 35, add 20 you get 55. But I think we would all agree that's probably a bit tired. It's probably a bit tedious. If you type like I do, it's dangerous because you're going to make many mistakes. So a preferred way for many folks to do this would be to use what we call the sum function. Sum function equals A1 colon A5, close parenthesis, and you'll notice that we get exactly the same answer. And we type a lot less. Sum is without a doubt the most frequently used function, in my opinion, in all of Excel, but it is only one of about 400 different functions depending on the version of Excel that you use. The good news is all functions work identical. And let's take a look at that real quickly, and we can help us all figure out some different things. All functions begin with an equal sign because all formulas do. And then, of course, we include the function that we're interested in using. And all functions end with a set of parentheses. Equal, today, open, close. That formula right there always returns the current date. If I were to do equal now, open, close, that's going to return the date and the time. If I do equal row, open, close, that's going to tell us the active row number. But most of the time, our formulas, our functions are going to look a little different. Equal, function, open parentheses, argument. Most of the time, there will be something inside the set of parentheses. So let's go back and look at sum. Equal, the word sum, A1 colon A5 shows up inside of the parentheses. Now the colon represents a range of cells. That's how we outline, define a range of cells. To the left of the colon is the upper left-hand corner of the range. To the right of the colon is the bottom right-hand corner of the range. So this formula says take A1 and add it to A2 to A3 to A4 to A5. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Another common piece of punctuation inside of the parentheses when we're using a function would be the comma. Now don't laugh, but that formula would work too. Also, it's a little silly to do it that way because it's much less typing if we use the colon, but it does indeed work. But it helps me illustrate to you another important thing that we can do with Excel in our formulas, and that is we can draw data from other worksheets and other workbooks. If I did this, equal sum, open parenthesis, APR, exclamation point A5, comma, MAY, exclamation point A10, comma, JUN, exclamation point A15, comma, JUL, exclamation point A20, comma, AUG, exclamation point A25. This formula is going to go to 5 different worksheets and go to a cell on each one of those different worksheets and it'll add it all together. And so the basic understanding of formulas allows us to do so many different things. So let's get back into Excel and take a look at how some of these might work. First, what I wanted to do is go to C1, and using one of my favorite keyboard shortcuts, I'm going to do Control semicolon. Control semicolon obviously puts the current date in the cell. And we can now compare that to doing it with a function. And if I use today, open, close, and then do Control Enter, we're going to also see today's date. The difference, close the book, go home, come back tomorrow, and open the workbook up. C1 is still going to show 412, but C2 is going to show 413 because the today function always returns the current date. Once again, equal function and a set of parentheses. Notice there is nothing inside of the parentheses. But there are other things that we can do. Let's say, just for example, we want to know what day of the week I'm recording this tutorial. What day of the week is 4/12/2017? So Excel does have a function called weekday. And one of the things that I wanted to point out to you that Microsoft, I think, has done a reasonably good job of making this so much easier than it used to be. As soon as I type in an equal sign, Excel knows that I want to do a calculation. As soon as I type in a letter, Excel knows I want to use a function. And so what we're looking at now is a list of all of the functions that begin with the letter W. Please note the circle with the FX. That's the symbol for function. So that's why I know I am looking at the functions that begin with the letter W. And as I continue to type, the list keeps getting shorter and shorter. And when I get to week D for weekday, only one function left. And it tells me that the weekday function returns a number from 1 to 7, identifying the day of a week of a date. Now, weekday, only function left on the list, and I'm bad typing. So all I have to do now is hit the Tab key, and you'll notice how Excel finishes typing out the function and give me my left parenthesis. Zero in, if you would please, on what's inside of those parentheses, and we're noticing what we have to include, what we have to give Excel. Serial number is a reference to a date. Please note that return type is in brackets. Those brackets are an indication that this is an optional part of the argument. So all we have to do now is type in C2. That's the date we want to check. And then when I type in a comma, you'll also notice that Excel shows me what all of my options are. The default in the weekday function happens to be number 1. where Sunday is day 1 and Saturday is day 7. But for a variety of reasons, maybe I want Monday to be day 1. And so it says right there that if I put in number 2, Monday will be day 1 and Sunday will be day 7. And if we go ahead and we close off our formula, there it is. And we see the number is 3. Please remember, Monday is day 1, Tuesday is day 2, Wednesday is day 3. And so equal function argument. There are more tutorials on the way that will look at many of the different functions in Excel, and we're going to create some more exotic formulas. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope to see you again real soon. You take care. Bye-bye.